תודה. Heint is der 7. Dezember 2023 und heute komme ich kein Teuer, das ist unsere Treffung in der Rahmen von Lernen Jiddisch und Jiddisch Literatur online durch Zoom. Das ist unsere Treffung, ich habe schon vergessen, welche Nummer. 292. Und für was sage ich Efscher 292? Weil ich habe gesehen, heint, als Efraim Berkowitsch hat aufgeführt im Internet, es sind uns alle unsere Treffungen bis heint. Weil das letzte Mal, er hat aufgeführt die letzte Treffungen, ist gewesen die Treffung im Internet Nummer 287. Sind da noch 4, 291 die letzte, ist es. Und Efraim Berkowitsch hat das getan, Nächten oder heint, on der Bakosche von Nechama und on mein Bakosche. Bin ich sehr zufrieden, was hat das getan allein. Das heißt, heint, kein Mensch in der Welt schon sehen alle unsere Treffungen bis Nummer 221. Und ich habe schon gesehen, also es sind schon rein Menschen in die letzten Treffungen euch. Wir haben gesagt, Vera hat gefragt, Vera hat gefragt, ich soll sagen noch, oder Nechama, ich soll sagen noch einmal, was steht beim Sof von Parashat Noach wegen der menschlichen Psychik. Sag ich noch einmal. Es steht, וייצר לב האדם, und der Yetzer, der Instinkt von Herz von Menschen, Ra mineurav, ist schlecht, der Instinkt von Menschens Herzen ist schlecht, noch von der Zeit, wenn der Mensch ist jung. Ist da die Frage ist, ich habe 2 Fragen. Wenn wir lernen Azab Posik, Azab Pasuk, in Sefer Bereshit, in Parashat Noach, wie soll dürfen wir sich beziehen zu die Wörter? The instinct of a human heart is bad since he is young. Wie darf mir sich beziehen zu Azab Posik? Amy, מה את אומרת? מה זה? זה פסיכולוגיה, זה סתם משהו שמישהו כתב, זה משהו שיש לו חשיבות ב-humanities. מה את אומרת, אמי?
אני לא יודעת.
אוקיי. אני לא אלחוץ עלייך, I will not press you. ורה, מה את אומרת על אמירה כזאת בספר בראשית, בפרשת נוח? אחר כך נשאל למה זה נמצא בפרשת נוח. כן. ורה.
קשה לי להגיד את זה,
אוקיי.
אני צריכה לחשוב.
אוקיי. נחמה, מה את אומרת על השאלה שלי?
Kinder lernen sich gleich von unheim wie zu führen. Ja, Kinder in der ganzen Welt. Von Tata Mama und von die anderen Menschen in seiner Kihilas, in Schule,
In der ganzen Welt sind doch noch heutzutage 16 Millionen Jiden. Die ganze Welt ist nicht alle Menschen in der Welt.
No, ich sag wegen Kinder bichlal, like in general.
Sag ich, als Kinder bichlal lernen nicht kein Tanach.
Okay. Aber we're talking about die Natur. Oh, die Natur nur von Jeden.
Ja, aber ihr habt gesagt, dass Kinder lernen wegen dem in der ganzen Welt. Und ich sage, als ob Emetzer lernt dem Tanach in Cheder, das sind jüdische Kinder. Ihr wollt reden wegen whether there is a truth in such saying. זה מה שאת רוצה להגיד.
Yeah. Menschen, I'm looking at it from a menschlicher perspective, nicht besonder, weil Noach ist nicht gewesen ein Jid, als ich dachte, wegen dem Sad von Noach, ja, wie ich Sadik, ja, und ist nicht gewesen ein Jid, als...
So the question is not Noach, the question is, what I am asking, if there is some aspect of truth in such versicle, in general.
Ja, man darf Kinder, ich gedenke, wir alle gedenken von unseren Kinderjahren und Kinder, die Kinder können sein sehr schlecht und wild und
In other words, what you are saying as an answer to my question is that from your experience, and not only from your experience, what is written in Parashat Noach about that the heart of a human person, the yetzer, the instinct, the first way of reacting of a human person since he's young is evil. How do you say it in English?
schlecht oder nicht.
So you say, את אומרת, שיש בזה אמת אוניברסלית. בסדר? זה מה שאת אומרת?
Ja, aber meine Mama hat gesagt, als sie hat gemacht Vertretens, wenn sie gewinnt
Sie hat gemacht was?
wenn meine Mama ist gewinnt Beis auf mir, oder sie ist gewinnt Beis auf meine Schwester, sie hat gesagt, einmal so und einmal Azoi.
Was ist Azoi und Azoi?
Like, du bist a Gutinke, a Stille, aber, in
An andermal.
Hat
sie gesagt, läufig.
Ja. Aber wie heftig zwischen mir und meiner Schwester. Es ist gewesen allemal wie wir seien like different, verschieden.
כן. Okay. So Nechama answered my question, and now that we heard, עכשיו ששמענו את התשובה של נחמה, ורה, את מבינה, יכולה להגיד משהו על השאלה שלי? האם הפסוק הזה בפרשת נוח יש לו חשיבות אוניברסלית?
לכל בן אדם יש משהו רע, אבל לדעתי...
לא, רגע, אנחנו מדברים, יצר לב האדם רע מנעוריו, מאז שהאדם הוא צעיר ביותר, לב האדם רע. על זה,
עם
יש
זה
לך מה להגיד?
אני לא כל כך מסכימה.
אוקיי. זאת אומרת, ממה ש... כן?
לדעתי, כל תינוק, כאשר הוא נולד, טוב, אני מדברת לגבי ניסיון שלי, לא רק על בן שלי, גם על הרבה תינוקות
במשפחה.
במשפחה לפחות. כל תינוק, כאשר הוא מתחיל רק הקונטקטים הראשונים עם העולם, הוא רוצה לקבל אהבה, ובגלל זה הוא רוצה להיות טוב לכולם. ומתי אנחנו מרגישים שהוא כאילו רע? תינוק עוד לא יכול להגיד מה מפריע לו, מה כואב לו, וזה, והוא התחיל לבכות, וכל מיני ריאקציות שלא נעימים לסביבתו. אבל זה סימן שלא טוב לו.
כן, ורה, השאלה שלי קשורה למה שכתוב בפסוק. בפסוק כתוב יצר האדם, לב האדם רע, לא מהרגע שהוא נולד, אלא מנעוריו. השאלה, למה מתכוון התנ"ך כשאומרים מנעוריו? לא מתכוון, מנעוריו, זאת אומרת כשהוא נער, כשהוא צעיר, אבל לא תינוק, אלא נעוריו, זה צריך להיות כנראה, כשהוא כבר...
כן, בגיל טיפש.
יותר מ9, 9, 10, 11, 12.
כן, כן.
אז זה השאלה, כן.
כן, אז האמת שכן, באותו זמן, פתאום אנחנו רואים בבני אדם, בנערים שהם רוצים להילחם, יש כאלה.
להילחם, את אומרת.
להילחם עם כל העולם.
כן.
הם חושבים שהם רוצים לעשות משהו בדרך חדשה,
כן.
הם חושבים שאף אחד לא עשה, ולא הלך בדרך הזה, אז בגלל זה הם מתחילים להילחם. אז זה לא תמיד טוב.
אוקיי, אז גם נחמה וגם ורה ענו על השאלה שלי, ואני שואל את אימי, עכשיו ששמענו את ורה ונחמה, יש לך מה להגיד על יצר לב האדם רע מנעוריו?
Well, sorry.
Amy.
I don't really have an answer. I just know that it's a conundrum that human beings
have... It's a what?
A conundrum.
לא
How
יודע
do you say
מה זה
conundrum? Like a puzzle. With and it has a conundrum has opposites within it, and it's something that's very hard to solve. Is a conundrum.
Okay.
So
למדתי מילה, כן.
Yeah, and you know, that humans for ages have been wrestling with this question.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, it's very puzzling.
אוקיי. אני לא סתם שאלתי את השאלה, כי אחרי שאתם עניתם, כמו שעניתם, אני מרשה לעצמי, I allow myself to say that what is written in that versicle in Parashat Noach seems to be a saying which is not said stam, as we say in Hebrew. But maybe that this saying, perhaps as many sayings in the Tanakh, general sayings, has a base in a tradition of knowledge of centuries. If we accept that maybe that this versicle has a universal truth in it, beyond the conundrum, as Amy said. The question is, if it is true, if that the instinct of the heart of humans are bad from their youth, the question will be that from when and why, as Vera said, the innocent newborn, when he comes to his years of youth, his heart becomes bad. What brings the human being after he is born, after some years, to be the model for the versicle in Parashat Noach? In other words, because it is said in this pasuk, in this versicle, that Yetzer Lev Adam Ra Mineurav, and it is not said Yetzer Lev Adam Ra from the moment he was born, we may, by a trick of Talmudic argumentation, say, so we learn that the instinct of the heart of a human when he's born is not bad. That there is some point in his life as a youngster when he becomes bad. So my question now is to all of you, if our assumption is correct, that at some point, the human who was born becomes, his heart becomes bad. What do you think may bring the human innocent kid, which was born after some years, that his heart becomes bad? Nechama?
Ich dem Moment verstehe ich, als es ist geschrieben in Tora, also als oi me if we believe that as Gott hat geschrieben dem Teure, as a
It mustn't be,
kid,
רגע, נחמה. It mustn't be, your answer must not be based on the fact that God wrote the Torah, because it can be, there are people who believe that, and there are people who believe that humans wrote it. But the question here is, maybe those humans were inspired by a divine inspiration. That's not the important point. The important point is, as I asked, what brings the human being after he is born at some point of his life to become bad. Okay.
well, die Torah wird das Kind zu helfen, das Kind zu führen oder zurückgehen in a Weg.
Okay, Nechama, your answer is an act of Hamas. You robbed my second question and second answer. You are right. What I was aiming, you reached it immediately. If, and I am asking in the spirit, I am answering in the spirit of what you said. If really, as the Torah writes, יצר לב האדם רע מנעוריו, איך שאת אומרת, לימוד תורה, in other words, education, in our case, Jewish education, is the antidote to this fact which is written in Parashat Noach. What you are saying, Nechama, and you robbed me the answer. I am very glad, because this is the direction of what I want that we should be speaking about. Education becomes, in my interpretation, the only antidote to the so-called fact that Yetzer Adam Ra Min'urav. As you said, learning Torah, these are the brakes against what a human being can become from his youth, and help him to conquer the instinct of his heart to act with evil.
Aber ich glaube nicht, als es darf sein, nur oder besonder die Teure, weil Teure kann sein anders zu jetzt wie der Mensch oder Yid, ja? Torah can
Say it
sein.
in English. I didn't understand.
Oh,
Say it in English.
I'm saying that Torah can be for each and every Jew epis underish. It doesn't have.
No, Rega, Nechama. When we speak about learning Torah, we are speaking about the system of learning in the Cheder and afterwards. And the learning depends on the Rebbe, on the tradition of explaining the Torah. We are not speaking how each person personally receives what he is taught. We are speaking about Jewish education.
Okay, so
Okay.
Torah is synonym for
Learning Torah. Learning Torah is a synonym. You want to say?
yeah, but Torah is education. So es darf sein complete, nicht nur die Torah, aber das ganze
The whole chain of sources.
Yeah, you asked us once.
Okay.
Hat uns gefragt, was meint zu
Nachon.
lernen, was like
Nachon.
a complete education, and I don't know if there's such a thing as a complete education, because
in Jewish history, it's written, and I said that once, that a Jew has to learn until the last day of his life.
No, but what does he learn? I mean, every group, right? Like
we speak about Jewish education. It means Torah, and Mishnah, and Talmud, and the interpretations of all these sources by exegetes.
okay,
speaking about Jewish education. Okay.
Oh, okay, but there's a little bit of differentiations, I think, the way the rabbis teach in different groups, and I'm talking about like Lubavitch is not going to teach.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter. We are speaking about the phenomenon of learning Torah during the whole life of a Jewish person, and of course, while learning, there are different interpretations of the text, but the text is always the same. And this is the ABC of learning Torah. Not the answer, but interpreting the same texts.
Somebody just asked me why Jewish people, I mean, this person is Jewish, like intelligence, and they wanted to know if, doctors, lawyers, scientists, mathematicians, if it's because we study or we learn, and I didn't know. I was going to actually ask you, but I forgot. If I'm forgetting.
Okay, I'll try to answer the question of the person who asked you. And about that, we spoke, I think, sometimes, that as we know, if I'm not mistaken, Jews are perhaps 1% of the world population. But Nobel Prize, if I'm not mistaken, those who got the Nobel Prize from Jewish provenience are 20%. So the question is, how come that 1% of the world population got to 20% of Nobel Prize? Something, if this is a fact, and I think it's a fact, I didn't say this fact, others said that, there is some lack of proportion, and that's the question of the person who asked you. How come such a disproportion? 1% of Jews in the world, 20%. And I have not the answer, but the question learns us perhaps that there is something in Jewish education, if we assume that most of the Nobel Prize receivers got a Jewish education, some in that way of rising the intellect of a human being influences his intellectual capabilities. כן. ורה, מה יש לך להגיד על זה?
לדעתי, השכלה,
לא שמעתי.
לדעתי, השכלה, יהודית אולי במיוחד, כן משפיע מאוד לבני אדם, אבל גם מאלה שלמדו ולומדים כל החיים תורה וכל מיני דברים כאלה.
לא, אין דברים כאלה. או לומדים תורה, או שאת מדברת על מי שלומד דברים אחרים.
טוב, שלומדים תורה ותנ"ך וכל הספרים. בקיצור, אנשים דתיים וגם אורתודוקסליים וכל מיני. יש ביניהם אנשים טובים ויש ביניהם אנשים לא טובים.
את מתכוונת חכמים.
יש חכמים, יש ממש טיפשים, כל מיני. אז זה לא רק בוודאי שלימודים זה משפיע לטובה, אבל זה לא
The only condition.
כן, יש גנים לבן אדם, יש כל מיני דברים שמשפיעים לטובה ולא לטובה.
השאלה שלי קשורה לא לבני אדם, אלא לשיטה של Jewish education. ואני עכשיו רוצה to be more specific. When we speak about Jewish education in the sense we spoke until now, what does it mean to learn Torah? Amy, יש לך תשובה? מה יש מיוחד בצורה של ה-Jewish education ולימוד תורה שהוא שונה other system of education with non-Jews? Have you thought about that, Amy?
לא. אני לא בטוחה.
כן. You have some guess?
לא.
אוקיי. נחמה, יש משהו מיוחד בחינוך היהודי מאז שהילד בגיל 4 מביאים אותו, או 5 לחדר, שזה שונה מה-education אצל עמים אחרים?
You know, my der Erziehung is given poshet. Ich bin gegangen in a Yiddish Tagschule.
No, don't learn from your der Erziehung. Think about the education, the Jewish education system, not about your own experience. Try to think about what is different in Jewish education from the Cheder, not about your personal experience.
Min tu and dos, mir haben
dos?
Shabbos, die Shabboslicht, mir benchen, mir allemol.
That's not Jewish education. That's perhaps Jewish behavior, אבל מה יש בחינוך היהודי ששונה מחינוך שמקבלים לא יהודים? אני יודע שלא, כנראה לא תדעו להגיד, אז אני אענה, אבל תנסי להסביר.
As Gott hat geschafft die Welt, geschaffen die Welt, als kommt vor von Gott,
No. This is a theodicy. This is a religious way, not a system of education. Okay, I'll try to answer. And the fact that no one of you touched the issue which I am about to speak about teaches me that you didn't learn in a cheder because you are women. It teaches me also that you have, and excuse me for being blunt, you have אין לכם מושג, you have no, איך אומרים מושג?
No idea? No.
You have no idea what was and is Jewish traditional education. And I am not trying to blame you. I'm trying to be harsh so you will listen to what I'm trying to say. And I remind you that we began speaking about that because 20% of Nobel Prize Jews and 1% of Jews in the world. My argument, before I explain the difference between Jewish education and education in general, my argument is that in Jewish education, at least until World War II, and perhaps also after, there is something in Jewish education which does not exist in education in general between non-Jews. The first aspect which does not exist in the history of education between Jews compared with non-Jews is that Jewish education was maybe from the 5th century I'm not sure if it before Christ or after Christ. I'm thinking about Shimon ben Shattach. Education as a universal thing which all Jews have to underwent. Jewish education was universal. I don't know, but I think that education between non-Jews never was universal. Perhaps more privileged layers of the non-Jewish societies got education, but it was not a mandate that every person of a nation of non-Jews should and must got an education. This is the first aspect, the difference. The second aspect is that 1,000 years ago, or more than 1,000 years ago, it depends if Shimon ben Shattach, you can look in the internet to see 4th century before or after Christ. The Jewish education was centered to learn Torah, which means to learn a codex enunciated in a way of tales about the whole range how the Jewish nation came to be one group of people with one belief and as a universal mandate to learn the Torah. Everyone who was considered a Jew was supposed to learn Torah, which in other words, as we spoke at the beginning, to learn how to restrain Yetzer Leva Adam Ra Mine'urav. How to restrain the evil tendency of a human being, and how can you restrain such an evil tendency as written in Parashat Noach? By learning what is the right behavior of a Jewish person on earth. And what is right as a Jewish behavior comes from God. So that's true that the highest authority which sets the rules of human behavior between Jews are the Ten Commandments, and the Torah is an extended way of explaining them. But, as we say in Hebrew, Alia vekotzba. Such a saying, I try to explain it sometimes. Someone remembers? Nechama?
No, but can you spell it for me? In
Yes, Aleph
Hebrew?
Lamed Yud Hey,
Yeah.
second word, Vekotz, Vav Kuf, Vav Tzadik, and Tzadik Sofit. Third word, Bet Hey, Alia Vekotzba. Vera, את זוכרת? מה? כן? Amy?
That's the tail with the thorn in it, or the
Right.
sting in it. Yeah.
Right. So for all of you, since the Jewish people at its beginning was an agricultural nation, the tale of a כבשה, איך אנחנו אומרים כבשה באנגלית?
The keva, that's
כן,
oh,
כבש.
a lamb. Is that a lamb?
The tale of a lamb
Mhm.
is a very nice,
Soft?
a very what? No,
Soft.
a very nice part of her body, and in everyday life, since we were an agricultural nation, the human tendency was to take the tail into your hand. But since the lamb goes into different fields and there are thorns, if there is a thorn in the tail and you take it with your hand, ow! You get pinched, איך אנחנו אומרים?
Stuck.
No, אתה נעקץ. The thorn enters you.
Poked.
So why I said Alia Vekotzba? Because of speaking too much, I lost the I lost the trail of what I was saying.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, are you saying that Jews were agricultural?
No, before that.
No, I know, but then the Torah is so that it won't.
Okay, I remember. Okay.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
So we were saying about Jewish education, about God as the highest authority which exists in the Bible, and that Jewish education is learning Torah, which we said before, is learning the Bible, but also not only the Bible. Why? Because I said Aliyah vekotzba. As Nechama said, different Jewish people read the Torah. And different rabbis in the Cheder and afterwards teach the Torah. But every versicle in the Torah can be understood differently by the rabbi, which explains, and by the students, which understands what he understands. So we have here suddenly, in the system of Jewish education, learning Torah, one more element which is very tricky, I would say. This is the Aliyah vekotzba. If every rabbi, every exeget, every authoritative explanation of the Torah can understand what is written a little bit differently, we got that to learn Torah, the Bible and the Mishnah and the Talmud, is intimately bound to interpretation. Because everyone who reads the Torah, if he did the teacher or the student, and even if he knows Hebrew, and even if he knows he is Talmid Chochem and knows many assumptions about the meaning of the words he knows, there is a place, and it can happen all the time, that Jews learning Torah will understand what's written differently. And this is a part and parcel of learning Torah. The interpretation of every word and sentence which is written in the Bible, in the Mishnah, in the Talmud, can be different. And the Talmud itself, which is part of learning Torah, is exactly that. One group of Talmudists say, I understand what is written like that, and another group says, and I understand the same thing otherwise. So what happened with Jewish education during centuries is free right for discussion about the same topic. So from one side, we have the same words, the same text, But from the other side, we have those who learn Torah will understand the same text differently. And why? Because one group will understand the versicle on the background of all which is written with these words in other parts of the Torah. And another group will understand a word in the versicle on the basis of, let's say, lexicological knowledge. There can be different approaches to understand the same text. So this is also part, and perhaps the most interesting and important part of learning Torah. Learning Torah doesn't mean, as we simple people will understand, to read a versicle to explain what means each word, and suddenly we know what is written in the Torah. No? Because, as I said many times, one word in Hebrew and in any language can have different meanings in different contexts, in different ages. We are speaking here about hundreds and thousands of years of learning. So we have here a lot of elements which constitute learning Torah, and this makes learning Torah a very complicated and difficult way of understanding the Word of God. And when I say the Word of God, as I told you some meetings before, I am not speaking from a religious point of view, but to understand what is said in the name of God means what is the absolute meaning which we as Jews should learn about each word written in the Torah. If I say the absolute meaning, I perhaps want to say the real meaning of what is written in the Torah on the background of the parasha, on the background of the history of the words, etc. So what I try to say is that to learn Torah is not like when we are educated in other nations. It's not to read a line and already, if we understood the words, we have learned. No, only at that moment when you read the line begins the מאבק, begins the Kampf, no? I will not call it war, but begins the
struggle.
Begins the struggle to understand what really meant this versicle.
You know, when I went to Jewish day school,
yeah,
and you know, instead of having a bat mitzvah, because my Jewish day school sent out a letter, you know, girls no bat mitzvah. I went to bat mitzvah. I went to a class, and I you know, maybe a year, a rabbi, and
it's a lot of time, a year. Yeah.
No, I mean once a week, right?
Okay.
on Shtot Bat Mitzvah. And I'm just thinking back, like, I hated it because there was absolutely no discussion.
That's no learning Torah.
But it was like the rabbi tells you, like, maybe it's different when the rabbi teaches women because, you know, he doesn't want to hear their voices, right?
Not
So-
only that, but women have no intellect. So there is no need to struggle to understand the text. You have to tell the women what they should think.
No, but the rabbis did, and the teachers did tell me how and what to think. There was absolutely no
Okay, that's
struggle
not
in.
learning Torah.
That's not
learning Torah.
well. That was my education.
That's an aberration. That's an aberration of the concept to learn Torah. And it doesn't matter if you are a woman or you're a man.
You know, to just spew out what you're told. Like
רגע, לא הבנתי. מה אמרת?
like just to say, repeat what you're
Okay.
told.
Yeah. Right.
So how come they teach like that?
Because, in my opinion, there is an aberration of what should mean Jewish education. And why do I say that? Because when I learned about what is Jewish education, I never was told that if you read in the Talmud something, you can tell the student what to think. The whole Talmud is based on a struggle how to understand the text. This is real Jewish education. And then, if you have learned in a real way in the system of Jewish education, you became a scientist, because you have to bring every moment, you have to explain why you understand this and that versicle in your way. And then you have to explain. When you don't need to explain why you understand something and why you use such and other words, and what do you mean after you read the text, there is no learning. Because at the end, the ultimate result of learning in general and of learning Torah in particular is the possibility a person has to arrive to a conclusion by himself and not by the dictate of something, of someone.
Yeah, I'm Schuldek Mir, but Heinz Tog, there's really no universal Jewish education. You have so many different groups. You have Lubavitch, you have Bobo.
No, Nechama. Universal education doesn't mean to convey the same meaning of a text to everyone. Universal education means to educate, giving freedom to the student to understand by himself, with the aid of the teacher, how to understand a text, and not because the teacher said that.
But the teacher wants you to the end result is what the teacher, what the Rebbe or the
Oh
Rav wants
no,
you.
so he's a bad teacher. Excuse me. In my opinion, he has to teach you to be free, to understand by yourself with his aid. He can help you, but you should have your opinion after learning. Learning is looking all the possibilities of explanation. And then accept the one you think.
I don't know about that. You're thinking of it like in a university setting where you as a professor help the students come to their conclusion.
But that's the only way to learn something.
But it's not the same in traditional Judaism or Orthodox Judaism.
If what you learn is to be a parrot, that's not Jewish education. Amy, מה את אומרת?
I don't know enough about the Jewish education systems that exist.
אוקיי. ורה, מה את אומרת?
אני בכלל לא יודעת כלום על השכלה לימודית.
כן. אני באמת לא מבקש מכם שאתם תגידו שאתם מכירים את מוסדות ההשכלה היהודית. I'm speaking about the method. המתודה, if I resume what we are saying, המתודה של חינוך יהודי, לפי דעתי, שמביא אותך להיות בעל פרס נובל, המתודה היא free thinking, discussion about every topic, and mental agility. דווקא מה שנחמה אומרת, שיש לובביץ' ויש גישות אחרות של לימוד תורה, this is mental agility. To be able to contemplate the different approaches to the same text. כן, נחמה, רצית להגיד?
No, I'm just I don't know where children get such a open-ended education in a cheder or
Not in a cheder, but when they go to a yeshiva, it is supposed that the element of free thinking based on what you should know about a versicle, about a text, about a word, is the beginning of such a training of mental agility. And if you learn Talmud, this is the outmost example of such educational system. You cannot learn, one moment, you cannot learn Talmud if you are not able to contemplate how different sages approach each versicle, each issue, each topic. כן, מה אמרתם?
I just want to say that here in North America, when you sign up your child to a school, it's already a philosophy, or like Bialik Togshul, Talmud Torah.
Nechama, I know what you are trying to say. You are speaking about schools who are part of an ideological part of the society.
But that's how religion, I mean, there's no universal anymore. Every school, every cheder, even the name,
But
the
I am
name,
speaking
like,
about Talmud. You cannot learn Talmud and be affiliated with such a way or another. You cannot be part of a Hasidic Talmudist yeshiva.
well,
The systems of learning Talmud don't go on the lines of political and ideological partnerships.
well, I don't know. The Chabad Lubavitch have the Schneerson, Rabbi Schneerson, a bild auf den Wand, and I don't know how that's universal education. I don't even, I can't even think of what it is. Can you tell me a group where a yeshiva, a name of something where the learning is like you describe, a universal not open-minded, but where the student
open to discussion.
Yeah.
The first thing I will answer your question. I will send you and Amy and Vera to an introduction to the Talmud, written by what's his name? Steinsaltz. Even Israel Steinsaltz. There is an English version, Introduction to the Talmud, and there is also a Hebrew version of the same thing. In this booklet, if I'm not mistaken, it's about 150 pages, something like that. He explains the principle of free thinking while learning Talmud. So this is the first part of my answer. The second part of my answer, as I began to say before, there is a difference between different yeshivas. But the difference is not on the basis of political ideologies. The difference is based on the approach to the way they explain the Talmud. But if you will take the books, it's not a booklet, the book of Rav Steinsaltz, the Introduction to Talmud, you will, in my opinion, before you, there will be open a gate to what means Jewish education. On the level, not on the level of the Cheder, and not on the level of Talmud Torah, but on the level of yeshiva learning.
Okay, I don't, yeah.
I want to add to my answer something which, as I say always in Aramaic, Bedidi Hava Uvda. I will tell you what is happening with me in the last months.
Could you spell that for me in Hebrew, those words, please?
Bedidi Hava Uvda. I will tell you a story which happens with me in the couple of months, last half a year. Bedidi Hava Uvda, something which is from the experience of my life. It's not a guess, but a real thing which happens with me every כל יום רביעי. Every, איך אומרים יום רביעי?
Wednesday,
Wednesday.
Mittwoch.
יער מיטווך. At 2 on Wednesday. Every mittwoch. The bell in my house rings. And in the door, when I open the door, appears a 30-year young person which is called Matanel Shalom.
Can't you read of Yiddish, yeah?
No,
Okay.
he comes
No.
to learn Yiddish with me.
No, can you speak in Yiddish?
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, is alle Mittwoch 2 noch 12, das heißt 2 in the afternoon, klingt man in mein Tier, in mein Haus. Wenn ich öffne die Tür, steht in der Tür ein Bocher. Ich sage ein Bocher, weil ist ein Bocher, nicht Hassan, geht noch. Sein Name ist Matanel Shalom. Sein ob ich nicht kennt es, I'm not mixing. If I'm not mixing, sein Tate ist von Taiwan. Sein Mame ist von Opa, ich komme in Yiddish, Tunis. Und kommt lernen mit mir Yiddish. Was kommt lernen mit mir Yiddish? Und was tun wir, כדי zu lernen Yiddish? Ich habe ihm gegeben eine Matone, die Kindermeises von משמו, צסלר, שמואל צסלר. Ich habe herausgegeben ein Buch zusammen mit Ruth Isakowitsch, die jiddische Kindermeises von Schmuel Zessler mit der hebräischen Übersetzung, Seit an Gegenseit. Und für was kommt zu lernen mit mir Jiddisch? Dafke, weil lernt jetzt MA in Jewish Studies und schreibt ein Buch, viele 2 Bücher, zusammen mit einem bekannten Forscher, ein Buch wegen Chassidut und in dem Buch von Chassidut wegen Harabi Mipiasetschno von der Zeit von der Shoah. Was hat in der Zeit von der Shoah angeschrieben nach Xaviat wegen Parashot HaShavua von der Teure. Und sagt mir, der zweite Buch vernimmt sich euch mit Chassidut, aber dort sind voran Texten auf Yiddish. Ich sage, kommen lernen Yiddish. Matanel Shalom ist der Assistent vom Professor Chaviva Pedaya von Be'er Sheva Universität. Und allein geht schon ein Kurs in Be'er Sheva Universität. Und wir lernen Zesslers der Erzählungen auf Yiddish und wir setzen über auf Hebräisch und ob ich will, soll euch sehen die Übersetzung von Ruth Isakovic, was ich habe das getan zusammen mit ihr, was kann ihm helfen, geht gucken. Aber wenn kommt, alle Mittwoch, sitzt ab bei mir zwischen 2 und 3 Stunden. Und beim Anheb, wir lernen Yiddish, lernen wir als eine wichtige Forscharbeit wegen Hillel Zeitlin. Ein Buch, was ist erschienen, die Tag, geschrieben, eine Forscharbeit, geschrieben von Achaver, von Matanel Shalom. Hat gebracht den Chaver zu mir mit ein paar Wochen zurück und ich habe bekommen ein Exemplar von dem neuen Buch wegen Hillel Zeitlin. Und wir lernen ihm zusammen 20 Minuten und danach gehen wir rüber lernen Yiddish. Von was der Monich, was es geschieht mit mir und Matanel Shalom. Weil Matanel hat verstanden, als oi man will verstehen Chassidut, darf man kennen Yiddish. Ich sage, komm, wir lernen Yiddish. Aber hat euch verstanden, eine Sache, was allemal, wenn wir treffen sich, wird zufrieden. Also wie Matanel Shalom. Ist gewesen ein Yeshiva-Bocher und hat gelernt in Yeshivas in Medinas Israel. Wenn wir lernen Yiddish, es ist nicht doch kein Mittwoch. Wenn Matanel Shalom, was kenne ich kein Yiddish. Jeden Mal, wenn wir lernen Zesslern und wir stellen sich auf ein Wort auf Yiddish, was ich erkläre ihm, sagt ui, das meine Meine Lehrer in Yeshiva sagen die ganze Zeit. Es weiß sich heraus, als in der Yeshiva mischen rein die Lehrer asach jiddische Wörter. Und wie ein Teimaner Bocher, hat keiner nicht gewusst, was will so. Und ist, dass wir lernen Yiddish, versteht mit einmal noch tiefer, was hat gelernt in der Yeshiva. Und es ist fantastisch zu sehen, wie so jeden Mittwoch trifft an ein Wort, 2, 3 Idiomen und es öffnet sich für ihn noch ein Fenster, zu verstehen, was hat gelernt in der Yeshiva. It's unbelievable. I didn't learn in the yeshiva, and because of that, I don't know what's the language, even when the yeshiva speaks Hebrew. Now I know more. Yet there is today, the great majority of the teachers in the yeshiva come from an education which mingled many Yiddish words and expressions. Amy, יש לך מה להגיד על זה? Amy?
Amy, you're muted.
Sorry. לא.
מה את אומרת?
אין לי מה להגיד.
אוקיי. ורה?
גם לי אין מה להגיד.
נחמה? אם תגיד לי שאין לך מה להגיד, אני מגרש אותך.
No, ich will sagen, das ist eine schöne Meister, was ihr heute erzählt, weil es ist eine Verbindung mit der Yeshiva-Bocher von themanischer, Tate Mame oder, und hat zu euch gekommen, kedei zu helfen erklären, was hat sich gelernt, was hat gelernt in Yeshiva, in
Mehr wie das.
mit Yiddish.
was darf für seine Pläne wie ein Forscher.
Aber du helf ihm zu verstehen in das Buch wegen Chassidut die jiddische Wörter oder Ausdrücke. Ja.
נכון.
Als אפשר in Yeshiva kann man nicht als Ding lernen die Yeshiva, sie dürfen a bissel, they have to go a little bit outside.
Of course.
To kommen zurück to the, you know what I mean, right?
Right. That's true, but I want to say even more. מתן שלום מדבר איתי על ספרים בפילוסופיה שהוא קורא, מדבר איתי על כל מיני נושאים במדעי הרוח. מתן שלום is a Produkt, sei von der Yeshiva, wo hat gelernt, und ist ein Beispiel. He is an example of free thinking. he came out from the yeshiva not as a fanatic, indoctrinated person, but as an open researcher of Judaism. And this is for me very interesting. And it is a kind of testimony that intelligent students from yeshivas came out from there with open minds and ready to learn more and more. And this is what I wanted to hint during the whole day today when we spoke about everything we spoke. How many times do we have? Yeah. יש לנו עוד 4 דקות. מישהו רוצה לשאול משהו, להגיד משהו?
Mein Klimenitzer hat mir gesagt, dass in Class der Lehrer
In was war Klasse? Wo lernen Sie?
in Talmud Torah. Sie sind 17 Jahre, grade 7.
Okay.
Und sie lernen Breshis und die Lehrerin fragt, was hat Gott geschaffen am ersten Tag?
Okay.
Und sie ist die 91 hier in Klasse, was hebt die Hand und sie sagt, or, as it's written right here, or, you know, God,
Yeah.
you know, and sie erzählt mir, as es ist da geschrieben, es ist, you know, right, you know, right there, often, you know, book, yeah.
Ja, aber die Lehrerin will sehen, sie die Studenten gedenken, was steht geschrieben.
Aber it's just to get facts, to Iber Chazarin, or you know.
You say this is the only way of learning Torah.
Yeah, but maybe their problem is die Kinder gedenken nicht oder sie wollen nicht gedenken oder reingucken in Buch, weil es ist etwas nicht gut mit wie soll die Lehrerin you know, just to get the answers, the facts, nicht zu
That's true.
yeah.
That's true. To be a good teacher, to be a teacher doesn't mean that you are a good, intelligent person. It depends also about the teachers. Okay. אנחנו צריכים לסיים, והיום זה יום חמישי. כן. טוב, אז...
Heint ist Chanukah, ja? Heint
bei Nacht die erste Lichtel, כן. für חנוכה, ואז יהיה חג שמח, וניפגש ביום שני, wir werden sich treffen, dem Kunden
Okay, I'm going to stop the recording.